Welcome everybody to episode 2 of All Stars. I'm trying to go a whole lot faster this episode, so let's get right into confessionals. First, though, I've got to admit to an error. Verksite submitted their response while we were having a conversation about something, and as a result, I somehow entirely glossed over it and it didn't show up in voting. Though to be fair, Verksite didn't even notice. So I've got to do something to compensate. If Verksite participates in round 3, I'll be duplicating the SR score for their higher round between rounds 1 and 3 to fill in for round 2. I think that's a decently fair trade-off. Now, confessionals. We've got a fair amount more to get through this round, so let's get into it. Ali% said, and Epic said, "Attention all Walmart shoppers. There is an active killer on the loose, and it is my duty to inform you that the only way to stopping that killer per his demands is to submit an Epic Sucks D's Nuts to Epsilon's round 3 of his All-Star season. This is your final warning. I am being taken hostage. Please help me." Sharito said, "Independent fact checkers have determined Ali% to be mostly false. I would know. My name is Independent Fact Checkers." Corbulent said, "I, Corb Ulysses Lent, am not in fact a Gemini." I wonder which response he had. Mr. Dell said, "Yo, 2 points. I didn't think my response was great, but I'm glad the voters thought so. My goal for the rest of Stage 3 was to get at least 6 points, so I'm glad that I'm still on pace. Also, Super Mario Galaxy is not as good as Super Mario Galaxy 2. And now for the Super Voter walk-ons, who also get confessionals. Michael said, "I'm prioritizing having fun over winning now that I'm out of contention." Nothing wrong at all with having fun, I say. Not a Donut said, H. Supernova said, "This fucking response single-handedly changed the course of the community's history. Dark. This response tastes like air. TC. I'm currently thinking of every way to prove this wrong, but I don't see it happening. ACN. The Queen would not have died last week if this response was not submitted. Dark." I don't know how many of these are real quotes, if any, and I also don't know who TC is, so that's interesting. Verksite said, "And." Varigold said, "I'm quitting the TWOW community. The reason is I've a singular different TWOW use the same exact rule. Supervote to submit confessional, and I'm tired of it. The first one I didn't even have time to think of a confessional, so I entered nothing, and Epsilon said it was hello, so I got free mentions. Then in the next round, I literally couldn't think of a confessional, so I submitted this and still got replaced by Varigold's and. I've been here since Jan 2020. I'm leaving probably forever." The round 2 prompt was this sequence of dialogue, which required contestants to come up with a completely ludicrous improvised remedy for their ailment or injury. Just like last round, we'll be starting with the All-Stars. You're competing for points, you all know how this works by now, 3, 2, and 0. Anyway, the winner of this round of All-Stars was actually someone who placed very low last round, so I'm glad to see that they were able to turn their performance around. For another hint, I'll say that their name was included in somebody's confessional this round. Their entire confessional. The name's H takes first place. I inhaled dirt and bonsai seeds so they'd absorb CO2 and emit O2 to supplement my faulty lungs. For some reason, H was completely convinced that his response was terrible, but I thought it was super clever and it answered the prompt in exactly the way I was looking for. Clearly, that 14% standard deviation means that people agreed with me. Really, look at what this VRD is like. That's 1 bottom half vote out of 22. Cherito makes a large jump into second place, and ACN makes a more moderate jump into third. I'll be honest, ACN's response was a bit too vague for my liking. I wasn't really sure what he meant to imply. My opinion doesn't matter though, because I don't vote. Season winner number 2 is in the building next, followed by our last 3-pointer this round, Razor Force. Ironic had easily my favorite response this round. I feel like I say that every round, honestly. I guess Razor's response implied that the speaker crawled all the way to the doctor's office. It's a little hard to tell what Razor was going for, but if that's the actual meaning, then that's really funny. So, not a single person ended up with 6 points after round 2. Our entire top 5 is new faces. Last round's top 5 certainly gave a strong effort though, because missing the 3-point range by just 0.06% is Plasmic Trojan, with Ghost right behind him. Both players were in the top 5 for long stretches of voting, but both ended up just missing the mark. Maybe I'm partial to responses mentioning dogs, but if it were me, Trojan would have stayed up there. 96LB places 8th for 2 rounds in a row, which is interesting. Lee also made a big jump from the bottom last round. Good job. Round 1 winner TR ends up in 11th, a respectable placing with a less than respectable line of dialogue. Ali's response really didn't answer the prompts, but it was funny, so we got away with it. That's the meta I like to see. Cyclonic's response was definitely risky, but it ended up earning him 2 points this round. I'm happy to see that, obviously. Dropping down into the 1 point range, we've got a wide variety of responses here. I'm surprised Piloto didn't end up higher. I was a big fan of the joke in his response. What I'm more surprised about, though, is how high Corbulant ended up getting with his absolutely bizarre response. I'm here for it, though. Here's our next 4. Gray submitted an insane response. I'm sorry that the risk didn't end up working out. Still, above 45% for these 4 is pretty solid. The last person earning a point this round is Cobalt, whose response kind of sounds like a rap bar, honestly. Unfortunately, Defnot is apparently having some trouble regaining his rhythm thus far. Don't give up, Defnot, I know you can figure it out again. Winnie, on the other hand, just kind of went goofy this round. He's still got 3 points from last round, so he's mostly fine. And that closes out the All-Stars. Here's a leaderboard of every player's point values updated both numerically and visually. Nobody managed to get to the maximum of 6 this round. We'll see if any of our top 5 can manage to collect 8 points by the end of first stage. For everyone else, don't drop the effort. A difference of 1 point could matter a lot in second stage. Alright, now we're moving on to the walk-ons. Out of the 46 walk-ons who participated in round 1, 33 returned to submit a response for round 2. I left Verksites out, so 32 players will show up on this leaderboard. Let's start by getting some bitches. MGR, despite actually doing pretty well in round 1, decided to throw with a response about eating hand sanitizer. MGR throwing is a tale as old as time at this point. Sophie Lee submitted a genuine cry for help. Supernova made reference to the best TWOW response ever submitted. And Michael, well, honestly I have no idea. I don't think I speak whatever language that is. Opkos' Minecraft response didn't end up working out very well, and neither did Mandaluskaya's integer overflow response. Both of those responses definitely aren't the first to do either of their respective concepts. FFBM's response is probably what his Saturday nights look like, and Nick went for a Wizard of Oz reference, which I thought deserved to be a lot higher. People don't make references like that often. Voltex fell quite a bit from the top 3 this round, and NoF once again started the voting period way higher than where they were when it ended. Leopard Sun fell quite a bit too. ITOD's response is definitely what his Saturday nights look like. And now we're already at the top 10. Random Gamer finishes 1 place higher than last round, keeping it consistent. Fieno had one of the most concerning responses in the entire round, and there's my dummy right above it. Zedex gets 8th place twice in a row with a response about AIDS, and Nihonium breaks into the top 10 right above that. Weird that both people who got 8th place round 1 in both leaderboards got 8th place round 2 in both leaderboards. Something's going on there. Varigold has the shortest non-throw response of the round, and it was good enough for 6th. Alright, here's the top 5. Navy, round 1 winner Not a Donut making a return appearance. Pie Dude showing his potential after making poor decisions. Pink Tuna, and formerly 44th place Trinerd, who also submitted an Among Us response in round 1. Out of all the rounds to throw in, I'm really confused as to why these two evidently competent players chose round 1. Y'all totally could have had something. Ah well, you're probably not mathematically eliminated yet, at least. In 3rd place is our repeat podium placer, Not a Donut, with an absolutely hilarious response. You're kinda looking like an all-star already, NAD. And now, once again, our winner completely dwarfed anybody else who submitted this round, walk-on or all-star. With an impressive 82.31%, Pink Tuna takes round 2. His response, they say, listen to your heart, I ate a walkie-talkie. Having someone to talk to, my heart healed. Was an incredibly creative answer to this prompt, and I'm happy to see it up so high. Much like last round, 2nd place Navy also scored higher than every all-star, with a far simpler but still effective response. Congratulations, you 3. Here's a leaderboard showing the average SR score of every walk-on who isn't mathematically eliminated after round 2. I duplicated Verksite's round 1 SR so you can have an idea of where they'd be this round. It's impossible to get an SR of more than 100% in one round, so anyone with a total more than 100% below Varigold's third place, 160.90%, is definitely locked out. In practice, there are probably fewer people than this who really have a chance, since scoring an SR of 100% is basically impossible, and people have to be evenly distributed around 50%. Not a Donut is just running away with first place. All he really needs to be an all-star at this point is a high mid-pack next round. The fight for second and third is going to be a bloodbath, though. I'm looking forward to it. Here's another stat. The average score for All-Stars and Walk-Ons moved a bit closer together this round, but the All-Stars are still performing solidly better. With all that finished, it's time for the next prompt. We're about to close out first stage with this one. Your round 3 prompt is... So you all know zodiac signs and horoscopes, right? We'll apply that idea to some other inconsequential thing and explain how it can predict either your personality traits or your immediate future. An example response might be, you ate a peanut butter sandwich today? Dude, you're guaranteeing this meeting's gonna be sticky. I'm fully aware that this prompt is gonna be hard, but I think you guys can do it. As usual, the prompt message with the full prompt information and the deadline will go out shortly after this episode concludes. I should mention that mathematically eliminated walk-ons are allowed to participate this round, but if you are one, you won't be pinged for reminders. I'd encourage you all not to submit blatant throw responses en masse to this prompt specifically too, since an influx of those is going to make all the SRs up at the top clump together more. That's all I really have to say. Good luck everyone, and I'll see you in episode 3.